Welcome to this week's Down Home with Tina show. I'm so very excited. I have got somebody who is going to sing some music for us today, and he is going to be at one of our Friday night bandstands in downtown Lancaster. He is an Elvis impersonator, and he is pretty flipping awesome. Also, I have coming up is Ken Sprague. He is with Hamburg Fireworks Display and Jerry Fireworks. And you don't want to miss out on that because, of course, with the 4th of July coming up right around the corner, he's going to have some tips to share with us on safety and also, you know, about those fireworks and hopefully maybe some places where he's going to be. And we're going to always at the Lancaster Festival, so we're always expecting that one. But folks, don't go anywhere. I got a fun show coming up just ahead. It's Down Home with Tina.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our two locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
You walked down the aisle and promised happily ever after. Sometimes happily ever after means ending a relationship. We know the conversations are not easy. Deciding what's best for you, your children, and your next steps takes work and communication. At Dagger Law, we know there are no monsters in a divorce, only people trying to find their way. Local, trusted, experienced. Dagger Law.
Welcome back to Down Home with Tina. I'm so super excited with the guest that I have in this Down Home with Tina episode. When I was a kid, younger teenager, they used to have the kiosks in the mall, our local mall, and they had those pictures that had that, like, I call it shellac on it. I don't know what it was. Well, there was an Elvis picture, and I really, really wanted it for Christmas one year. And because I didn't come from a whole lot growing up, we were somewhat poor. My mom surprised me with it. And I opened that picture on Christmas Day of Elvis, and I cried. And so with that all being said, I have Todd Berry with me. He is a fella who is an Elvis impersonator, and they've got something coming up at the Friday night bandstand because that is in full swing now, and so I'm so excited. Welcome to the show.
I'm glad to be here.
Tell folks a little bit as to why you decided to do what you do and when you first was introduced to Elvis.
Well, I can thank my mom for playing all his records when I was a kid. That's where it all started. She played the old 45s and the old records and drove me nuts.
Drove you nuts, yep.
And now, here I am driving other people nuts.
Well, would you really say that? Because people are now paying you for it. So they are seeking you and they want you.
It's enjoyable to be able to bring back the memory of Elvis because, as you know, he changed the world and changed a lot of people. He was a generous person, a humble person, and he gave a lot to people that, I mean, there's rumors, you know, he gave away like 10 Cadillacs. So wow. He gave stuff to people, and he was a Christian, and that's a big part that people don't know is that he really loved the Lord, and he lost his way, as you know, got into some bad things. But the thing is we all lose our way if we don't stay right with the Lord. Mm-hmm. So just have to keep our eye on the ball. That's right. That's right. And that's something obviously that you do as an Elvis impersonator as well. Yes. Well, I mean, in your personal life, but then you. Right. And I always praise the Lord. Every show I do, there's a spot in the middle of the show where I'll do How Great Thou Art, which is an all-time favorite of Elvis. One of his only Grammy Awards was gospel music. People don't know that. But really? One of his only Grammy Awards was gospel for the song How Great Thou Art and the song by Bill Gaither called He Touched Me. So those were the only Grammys awards he received during his career. So it's kind of interesting. He kept that throughout his career, and you're actually doing it
as part of your set.
And I always stop the crowd, you know, like people will say, hey, we'd love to see the king of rock and roll. And I said, look, there's only one king, and his name is Jesus Christ. He died on a cross. I said, but Elvis had that talent, gave from the Lord, you know,
That's
so
right.
he was able to do it. And that's what I tell people on stage, you know. I tell them, say, this is, there's only one king, and his name's Jesus. And I'm going to sing a gospel song for you tonight. And if you feel the presence of God, raise your hands and praise him today.
How strongly do you feel about people using their talents in their life? That
They need
their
to
gifts?
use all their talents they have, because you just got to, I was born legally blind, and God gave me a gift to sing. So I took my talent, I did what I could do with it to make a living. Most people, they kind of, they have a dream, but they let their disability or something hold them back from what they love to do. And I think that if more of them would jump up and just take their dream and run with it,
Yeah,
they wouldn't be in the spot they're in now.
right. When did you realize that you had a voice and that you could sing Elvis's music, or was it?
I was kind of put on the spot. I was kind of put on the spot. Yeah, my mother, she said, "Hey, we're going to get my son up here to sing at the local wedding or whatever it was."
I knew it was Mom. I don't know how I knew it was Mom. That's funny.
That's all right, Mama.
That's right. That's right. Aw. So you were born legally blind then. So
Yes.
You do this full time?
Yes, this is what I do for a living. I go and I sing the Elvis shows all over the country. And then I also do a ministry singing for nursing homes and retirement facilities.
You do.
So I go in and do about 30 shows a month singing for these people, and that's how I make my normal living. And then on the weekend, then I do the bigger shows.
You do.
Like we're doing in Lancaster. I'm excited to be there on the 16th of June.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great time.
How far have you traveled?
I've been out to Las Vegas.
You have?
I've been to Branson, Missouri, Tennessee, Kentucky, just kind of all over. A lot of my stuff's in Ohio. I do a lot of private events for folks. You'd be surprised how many people they love to have Elvis at all these different events. I mean, just to give you an example, yesterday there was a nurse and she retired from a hospital in Beaver Creek, Ohio. Mm-hmm. And she was retiring. They wanted to surprise her. So they hired me to come in at the hospital where she works.
Aww.
And I went up in this banquet hall and did a performance for them. You know, she didn't know anything about it. And she came in, her face beat red. She said, "Elvis is here." She is real excited. It's just, what cracks me up is today, people still today, they love him so much. If somebody can perform him and do it justice,
Yeah.
they pay the money, outrageous money for an impersonator. People don't realize what it's like. Really weird, because somebody that's been gone all these years,
Mm-hmm.
and you still go out and make huge money doing his music.
Yes, he's been gone a really long time. I mean, I think 5 or 6. I remember seeing it on the little small black and white TV
Yep.
at home when they announced him and his passing.
But when I started singing, I was kind of backward, you know, just a little bit that way, you know, when I first started going, you know. And some woman, she asked me one day, she says, so are you shy when you get on stage, or get nervous or whatever? I said, I don't get nervous. Look at my belt here. I mean, you know.
Why did you do
And she
that?
started laughing.
Yes.
And see, and I'm wearing this outfit is kind of interesting because this is more of a casual Elvis look.
Really?
Yeah, like I don't know if you studied Elvis or knew any of the interviews that he's done, but he actually went to meet the President Nixon in 1970, mm-hmm. and this is what he wore. This is more like what you call the interview suit.
Well, I think the photo that I had, or the picture that I had, was of him in the red and black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is more like casual. When I come to Lancaster and do the live show, I'll be in a full jumpsuit, white with the American Eagle and the, you know, all that.
You will.
So, and scarves to give out to the crowd during the performance.
You do. How do you find these? And are these like custom made?
Oh yeah, they're through a lady called Pro Jumpsuits there in Canada, and she She does the replica of the real suits. I mean, they're pretty authentic, but they're thousands of dollars. Like,
oh, right.
Some of my suits are like $4,000, $3,000.
Oh, wow.
This suit here is about $400 if you add everything in.
Okay.
$400 or $500 for this, because it's laid back, the jacket and then the belt. These belts run probably around $200 or $300 a piece.
And you don't have to get new outfits often, do you?
No,
they last for a little
they
bit.
last for a while.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it gets expensive, you know, and that's why people charge so much to do these performances, because, you know, you got to look at if you tear something up in the suit or, you know, to have them cleaned, it's ridiculous too. They're like $40 to have them cleaned or something.
Yeah, yeah.
You
wow.
know, every time. So
Yeah.
it makes it.
So where are you from?
I'm from Muncie, Indiana originally.
Okay.
And I moved to Grove City, Ohio in 2008.
So you've been here for quite some time.
Thanks to a good friend of mine. He actually runs a record company in Columbus called Spotlight Records, and his name's Jim Bruce is his name, and he managed me for a while, and he's promoted me. He's a great guy. He's taught me a lot about the business, learned a lot about the business, and but I'm coming to Lancaster thanks to a guy named George Kidder, who runs Kidder Entertainment here in Lancaster, Ohio.
That is right.
And I'm thankful for him. He's a great guy. I've known George for several years, and he's a Corvette guy. He asked me one time. He said, "Hey, why don't you take a picture of Elvis dressed like Elvis in front of my Corvette? It's a 1966 Stingray." And I said, "Hey, that's fine. That'll look good."
How can folks get a hold of you and find out, you know, what all you have as your services?
They can log on my website, which is toddberryonline.com.
Okay.
And they can check that out. If you Google Elvis in Ohio, I come up as one of the first on the list there on Google, so you can pick me up that way. There's so many Elvis impersonators out there, you know, it's the cost, though. Some of these guys, they're so high, their rates are so high that a lot of folks can't afford it. And there's nothing wrong with making good money, but there comes a point where you need to give somebody something and not have to gouge them. That's how I feel about my performance. So I try not to crank it up too high, you know, just enough to cover my band members and what I got to do, you know, but I just try not to be too high.
So let's talk a little bit about that Friday night performance at the Friday Night Bandstand in downtown Lancaster. It's on June 16th. It begins at 7 p.m. However, what is to be expected? Because you have an orchestra and things?
Yeah, well, what I try to do is, like, when I do a big event like that, I want to bring the full production that Elvis did, if I can. If I can bring that, if it's in the budget to do that. And really, I'm kind of out of the budget on this deal a little bit. I'm kind of taken into my other account to cover this, because the way I look at it is I want to give Lancaster the best Elvis experience that I can give, and it wasn't there for their budget to cover it, so I covered it myself.
But you don't always do this, so do you
No,
go
I
out
don't always do
solo
that.
on your own as well to help
Yeah, I do
accommodate for
solo
budgets?
events. Yeah, like I'll bring in a track show where it's just the music and I perform or whatever, so I can save on budget, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Or I'll bring a full band or a half band. Sometimes I'll just bring a keyboard and a guitar, bass, and drums, and just let the keyboard do all the horn parts and all the production. But if you want the real experience, then I'll bring in the orchestra and the quartet to bring in that full sound. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And try to keep it. You know, it's usually around 5,000. For that.
For that. Okay.
You know, a lot of the bigger acts, they're charging $10,000 and $13,000. You know, I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, they are. Yes.
Like Mike Albert, for instance, he's a well-known, and Mike Albert's been around for years and does a great job, but the price is so high that a lot of people can't afford that.
Yeah, so you're still trying to make it affordable for those. So what are you going to sing today? Because we're going to have you do a performance. Is it going to be a full song or just part of a song?
I figure I'd do a full song here for you.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and take a break. If you just hold on there, we're going to take a break.
Right.
We're going to come back, and then we're going to have you go at it.
All right,
that
thank
way
you very much.
You can own it. You are very welcome. It's Down Home with Tina. We'll be back in just a minute.
My name is Scott Duff, and I'm the director of the Fairfield County Overdose Response Team, and I'm here today to discuss Narcan. Narcan is the opioid overdose reversal medication. Narcan saves lives. We have saved countless lives in our community by providing Narcan to those with substance abuse disorders. We would very much like you to consider carrying Narcan on a regular basis. Narcan can be obtained easily in your community by reaching out to the Fairfield County Overdose Response Team at 740-901-1598.
This message is brought to you by the Fairfield County Adam H. Board.
Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Welcome back. It's Down Home with Tina. On a Friday night, June 16th, you will get Elvis, The Ultimate Experience. And this is a little bit of what you're going to get. The song that he is going to sing is Can't Help Falling in Love and Don't Be Cruel.
Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you. Shall I stay? Would it be a sin if I can't help falling in love with you? Like a river flows surely to the sea, darling, so it goes. Some things are meant to be. Take my hand, take my whole life too, for I can't help falling in love with you. Speed it up a little bit for you. You know I can't be found sitting home all alone. If you can come around, well, at least please telephone. Don't be cruel to a heart that's true. Well, baby, if I made you mad, was something I might have said. Please, let's forget the past. The future looks bright ahead. Don't be cruel to a heart that's true. I don't want no other love, baby, it's just you I'm thinking of.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly.
Lights out.
And put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Downhill with Tina is brought to you by these amazing sponsors, including Hamburg Fireworks and Display and Jerry's Fireworks. Thank you so much, Ken, for taking the time to be with me today. We are going to just share with folks about, so last year there was a law that was passed, and it was the first year, not that folks weren't doing, they weren't buying them before that, but it actually made it legal.
Yep, for the longest time, the Ohioans were not allowed to set them off. They could buy them from licensed dealers like us, but they weren't legally allowed to set them off in Ohio. So yeah, last year was the first year you could legally take them home in Ohio and set them off in your backyard.
Yeah, and you can store them all year long if you wanted to.
Sure. Yeah.
It was interesting though, because before we got started, and I didn't realize this, I guess, that there really is, by law, only certain times of the year that the fireworks are allowed to be set off.
Yeah, the legislators set up certain holidays that they want you to only do it on. It's the main ones. Of course, the 4th of July, New Year's Eve. Mm-hmm. They got Juneteenth. There's a bunch of holidays that you're allowed to do it. And then they put a time limit on it. They don't want you doing it after 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
So, which is smart. But yeah, I'm just happy that the Ohioans are allowed to do it, because we've been trying to get something like that, seems like forever. So I'm happy that the legislation finally went through.
Did you see an increase in sales with it last year? Or?
I was really anticipating that, but like you mentioned earlier, people that were like fireworks were already buying them.
Yeah.
And I didn't see, but also if you remember last year at that time, we were paying $4.50 a gallon of gas. So people's got to be mindful of their expenditures, and I think it might impact it. And just fireworks in general, just like everything else, has went up. So cost is definitely a factor. So didn't see an uptick, but maybe it'll come back a little bit more this year.
You guys, now speaking of you guys being Hamburg's Fireworks and Display, you're busy a majority of the year, right? I'm sure you have that quiet time, of course, in the middle of winter. But.
Yeah, the professional side is pretty much all year long. When it comes to winter, we do a lot of indoor type events, but yeah, we stay busy all year. And of course, it peaks out on the 4th. And Tuesday being the 4th of July this year, a lot of people can see multiple shows. The traditional cities like ours, Lancaster, is on the 4th, but some of the other towns will go the Saturday before, which would be the 1st of July. So you can actually see 4 or 5 different shows if your family wants to travel around a little distance.
Yeah, so you guys are pretty busy. You guys do a lot of different places on the professional side, don't you?
Oh yeah, we'll do over 200 from that weekend, end of June to the weekend right after the 4th. So yeah, we're busy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So what is it about that you enjoy yourself as being involved with the fireworks industry?
Well, just a huge tradition of it is why my dad started it back in '72, and I just like that I'm carrying it on. Both my 2 sisters are heavily involved. My son, of course, just came in on board a few years ago, and he's helped me tremendously. So it's still a family business, and I'm proud of being part of the tradition and people that like fireworks. It brings happiness and joy. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. And you are all, and with you saying that, family business and all, keeping local and you're right off of 33.
Yep.
First of all.
Yep.
And you guys do so much involvement in the local community as well. So you know where I'm going with that. folks come help, you guys do things, and you, I'm sure, go above and beyond with being our own hometown,
Yep.
Lancaster. 4th of July, the Lancaster Festival, you do the fireworks there.
Yep. Yeah, it's a great feeling to be able to be part of this community and give back. It takes to do that many shows and run the actual store. It takes about 300 of us. So and of course they're all employees and get paid.
Yeah. So
but
he doesn't have 300 family members.
There is a lot of people
like
that just
family, maybe.
want to be part of it and want to help. So it's great.
And with that being said, though, you guys have something that you have every year that you invite the public to come down to the business.
Yeah, I think this might be the 11th year, but we started doing what we call a demo night, and we invite the public and a lot of our current customers to come in, and we shoot off product right from the store. We try to introduce new product lines, and we shoot a show that demonstrates different products. We invite food vendors. There'll be food vendors there, and we actually have a live entertainment. A band there will be there too.
Oh, nice! Kind of like a mini festival kind of thing.
It's kind of a way that people can see something before they actually want to try to buy it.
Right. Yeah. Jerry's Fireworks.
Yep.
And what is the location of that, and the date and the time of the event?
So June 10th is the date. It's a Saturday. Most of the festivities start about 7. Of course, we'll shoot the actual show at dark, and we'll have some other event. Like I said, there'll be a band.
Nice.
Food vendors will all be there, and then I'm hoping that now we're partners with the crew. There'll be the mascot and possibly a player there to talk with people if they want to see them.
Oh, very nice. So, do you have anything else throughout the year that you guys, other than just going out to the different?
I mean, other than our annual festivals we do throughout the year, fairs and stuff. Yeah.
Wonderful. If folks are watching and they are just wanting to make sure to get the word out about safety tips and things like that, what is the number one thing that you see with folks that maybe one of your, not to deter them from purchasing those things, but just to be careful with?
Well, all the products are all regulated by consumer products, which means they have to meet certain standards in labeling, and make sure they follow the directions. And even though fireworks are safe, or they wouldn't be allowed to be sold, they're not for kids. Don't give them to small children. And if you are, make sure there's an adult present to make sure they're doing things properly.
Okay.
So, adult supervision, I think, is the main one, but common sense.
Right.
About dealing with it, safe distances, always have water ready, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Safety glasses.
Yeah, and the sparklers. The sparklers are so huge, but those are so, I would say, common for little ones to just be other little ones that are with them being too close to one another that a spark can get.
It's one of the most dangerous and most reportable incidents is with sparklers.
Okay, yeah. So just, again, have water nearby, or just keep the kids far enough. What do they say that the social distancing with sparklers?
Yes.
Sparkler distancing. That's what we'll call it this year. Contact information for anybody that has any questions or anything.
We're located at 2240 Horns Mill Road, just 3 miles south of Lancaster off of 33. And
hours?
We're open daily, 9 to 9, starting this weekend at Memorial Day.
Okay.
So, www.hamburgfireworks.com or jerrysfireworks.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you.
Folks, you heard him straight from the man's mouth himself. Go enjoy the demo day, because it sounds like it'll be fun. And just to be safe. Be safe when it comes to the fireworks this year. And thank you so much for watching Down Home with Tina. I'll be back next week. God bless and good day.